You've prayed this one. Maybe about a job, a move, a relationship you couldn't tell was right or wrong. You said something close to, God, just show me what to do. Make it obvious. And you probably had this verse in the back of your mind while you prayed it. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So you waited for the direction, the sign, the door opening, or the peace descending, or the clear inner voice telling you left or right, and a lot of the time, nothing came. Then you made a decision anyway, the best one you could, and quietly wondered whether you'd failed the verse, whether you should have heard something, whether other people hear something and you just don't. Here's what I want to show you. That last line, he will direct your paths, does not mean what almost every English reader thinks it means. The Hebrew word behind direct is not a word about giving directions. It's a word about construction work. And when you see it, this verse stops being a promise God seems to keep breaking and becomes something far more solid. But before the word, you need to know who's talking and to whom, because it's not a poster, it's a father talking to his son. Proverbs chapters 1 through 9 are a single extended speech. A father teaching a young man who is about to leave home and start making his own decisions. Read the chapters around it, and you can feel what he's worried about. He's worried about the friends his son will pick, about whether he'll take shortcuts for money, about the choices a young man makes when nobody's watching. So this isn't abstract spiritual advice. It's a father saying, you're about to start deciding things without me, and I need you to understand how this actually works. And the first thing he says is trust. The Hebrew is ba tak, and it doesn't mean feeling confident. It means to put your weight on something. Which brings us to the second half of that line, and the first word that changes everything. Lean not on your own understanding. The Hebrew is Sha'an. Sha'an means to rest your weight on something for support. Commentators point to a specific image for it, a man leaning on a spear, standing there, upright, with his full body weight resting on a shaft of wood. It's also the word used for kings, who in the ancient world would appear in public leaning on the arm of a trusted advisor. So look carefully at what's being forbidden here, because it's narrower than most people assume. The Father is not saying don't think. He's writing a book of wisdom. The entire point of Proverbs is to make you think better. 2 verses later, he tells his son to use his money wisely. He's not against intelligence. What he's against is resting your full weight on it. There's a difference between using your understanding, planning, weighing options, thinking things through, and standing on it, leaning your whole body on the spear, because a spear can hold you right up until it can't. And you know exactly what that feels like. It's the plan you were certain about that fell apart, the read on a person that turned out to be completely wrong, the decision that made total sense with the information you had, and the information you had was incomplete. That's not a failure of intelligence. That's what finite understanding is. It works until it hits the edge of what you can see. The verse isn't insulting your mind. It's telling you what your mind is rated to carry. Quick note before we keep going. If you've ever read a verse your whole life and wondered what's underneath the English, that's every video on this channel. One verse, one word, what it actually says. Subscribing means you won't miss the next one. Now, the promise at the end. This is the one that's been misread the most. And he will direct your paths. Here's how nearly everyone reads that. God will tell me which way to go. He'll give me the map. He'll point. That reading is why this verse quietly breaks people, because you pray, and you don't get pointed anywhere, and you conclude the problem is you. The Hebrew word is Yashar, and it does not mean to point the way. It means to make level, to make smooth, to make straight. It's a construction word. It's what you do to a road. In the ancient Near East, when a king was going to travel, crews went ahead of him, filling in holes, clearing rocks, leveling the ground, making the road straight. That's Yashar. So read the promise again with the actual word in it. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths level. Do you feel the difference? God is not promising to be your GPS, announcing turns in advance. He is promising to be the road crew, working on the path you're already walking. And that's a completely different kind of comfort. A GPS gives you certainty before you move. You know the route, then you drive. A road crew gives you something else. You still have to walk. You often can't see far ahead, but the ground under your feet is being worked on by someone who knows where it goes. And notice what this quietly does to the guilt. If God's promise was to tell you the way, then every unclear season is evidence that something is broken. Either God isn't speaking or you can't hear. But if the promise is that He levels the road as you walk it, then the absence of a sign isn't failure. It's just normal. You were never promised the map. You were promised the road work. Now, there's a condition attached, and it's easy to skim past. In all your ways, acknowledge Him. The Hebrew word for ways is drek, a road, a route, a course of travel. And the word translated acknowledge is yada, the deep relational word for knowing. We did a whole video on it in Psalm 46 if you want that one. But focus on the scope, all your ways, not the religious ones, not the ones you'd call spiritual. The Father is talking to a young man about to enter ordinary adult life, work, money, friendships, who he marries, what he does when nobody's checking. All of them. The road God levels is not a special road. It's the actual one you're on. The job, the commute, the family, the dull Tuesday. Which means acknowledging Him isn't a ritual you perform before big decisions. It's a posture you carry into normal ones. So let's put the whole thing back together. Put your weight on God. That's batach. Don't rest your full weight on your own understanding. That's Sha'an. Use it. Plan with it. Just don't stand on it like a spear. Bring Him into all of it, not just the spiritual parts. And what He promises in return is not a map. It's road crew. He levels the ground you're walking on. And here's where I'd ask you to be honest with yourself for a second. Most of us don't struggle with this verse because we don't trust God. We struggle with it because we've been waiting for a kind of guidance we were never promised, and reading the silence as rejection. So the question isn't, why won't God show me the way? The question is, what are you leaning your whole weight on right now? Because everyone is leaning on something. Your ability to figure it out, your track record, your plan, your read on the situation, the spreadsheet, the 5-year timeline. None of those are wrong to use. All of them are wrong to stand on. And the honest test is simple. What happens to you when that thing gets taken away? If the plan falls through and you fall through with it, that wasn't a tool you were using. That was the spear you were leaning on. One more thing before you go. In one word, what have you been leaning on? Just one word in the comments. You'll see very quickly that you're not the only one leaning on it. And if you know someone who's been praying for direction and hearing nothing, and quietly wondering what's wrong with them, send them this. The problem was never their hearing. So the next time you pray that prayer, God, just show me what to do. Remember what He actually promised, not a voice telling you where to go. A road being made level under your feet by someone who already knows where it leads. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight.